It is Saturday, and that means it's time for our Saturday Throwback, when we look back at some of the events, people, and topics that our newsroom covered in years past. For this week, we found a report that dealt with an issue that was a challenge for families then, just as it is today. We're talking about the cost of a college education. In June of 1978, our Channel 4 reporter Steve Trinkman took a hard look at the issue and what parents and students were doing to pay for it. But as you watch this report, pay special attention to the numbers. Yeah, we think you're going to find them quite interesting.
Depending on who you talk to, the squeeze on the middle class may be tightening. When you ask college officials, students, and families if there really is a cost crunch for middle-class families, those mainly in the $15,000 to $25,000 income range, the chances are you'll get several different answers. It will cost an average $3,000 to go to a four-year public college or university next year, between $5,000 and $8,000 for a private institution. But our focus on the complex college cost picture may be more encouraging than those figures. A current government report shows incomes have been rising faster than college costs, and so has the amount of available federal and state aid. Washington University tuition next year will reach $4,300 a year, with total expenses for an out-of-state student hitting an average $7,300 a year. But Washington U has more than $10 million for student aid of all kinds. 45% of its undergraduates are receiving aid, and students from middle-income backgrounds are getting some of it. For the past 58 years, the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis has been helping needy students who find the door shut at the College Financial Aid Office. It gets its money, $300,000 this year alone, from its own revolving fund, private contributions, and its Scholar Shop in Richmond Heights. Demand for the foundation's money is increasing year by year.
As our society becomes more complex, people need more education, that they must subsidize themselves, and this is where a need that we're able to fill.
So the Scholarship Foundation will be around for another 58 years.
Oh, I certainly hope so. We work very hard to raise the money, and our goal, of course, is to turn no one away. Perhaps that will happen in a few years.
Marvin and Shirley Gershon of Olivet are caught in the squeeze. Their son Bob wants to go to the University of Southern California, where tuition is more than $6,000 a year. The family income, however, is a little more than $20,000 a year, so the Gershons have had to cut corners.
I had a fairly extensive wardrobe at one time, and it's getting very old and being retired slowly, one piece at a time. I haven't bought a pair of shoes in at least 5 years. We haven't gone on a vacation for 2 years, and it was a couple of years before that we'd been on the last one, and we don't know when our next vacation is going to be either.
In the long run, Bob Gershon's persistence may pay off for him. The message we're getting from college officials in this area is that the financial aid picture is going to improve. And persistence by families and students, especially those in the middle class, seems to be the answer for getting what they want. This is Steve Trinkman reporting.
Have to wonder where Bob ended up after all of that. Now, in that report, Steve referenced middle class income and the annual cost of college education. So how do those numbers compare to today? Let's take a look. First, Steve reported that middle-class income in 1978 was between $15,000 and $25,000. To compare that to today, we found computations based on research done by the Pew Research Center, and here are some rough estimates by state. In Illinois, for a family of four, middle-class income considered between $65,000 and $195,000 a year. In Missouri, the range is $57,000 to $170,000 a year. But do keep in mind, these are rough estimates and certainly subject to interpretation. So what about the cost of tuition? Well, that has gone up considerably. Steve reported the annual tuition at Washington University in 1978 was between $4,300 and $7,300. Well, according to our own reporting and the school's website, the tuition this past year was $65,300. Housing and meal plans would add about $17,000 for a total of more than $73,000 every year. That's an increase of 10 times over 43 years. Also, the Scholar Shop store across from the Galleria featured in that report from 1978. That was one of two upscale resale shops operated by the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis. The stores closed in 2017 after 57 years of operation. But the foundation still works to help students who need with college tuition. Last year, they marked 100 years of operation.